In this lecture, we will focus on the data type list in Python and built-in functions that can be used for lists. The list holds a collection of values, that is, at least one or more values. In contrary to the data types integer, string, or float, which can only hold one value at the time. The figures in this slide tries to illustrate these differences. The data types integer, string, and float can be seen as a container with one box, where the box can only store one value. The list is a container of one or more boxes, where each box stores one value. A list is created by writing a number of values separated with commas between square brackets, like in this slide. Here, a list with 4 values have been created by writing these 4 values within square brackets. As you can see, the values in a list do not need to have the same data type. We can store strings, numbers, and even variables in the list. In this list, we store the variable named a, the integer 12, the string altogether, and the float 3.1. However, the list needs to be stored in a variable by assigning the list to a variable. In this example, the variable named list underscore values is now of the data type list, and it is holding 4 values. The index values in a list always starts at 0 and continues with one integer increment. That is, next index is 2, 3, 4, and so on. This figure tries to illustrate this by using 5 boxes to illustrate a list with 5 objects. The list counting starts on the left side, with first object having index 0, incrementing by 1 to the right so that the second object is indexed by 1, third object with index 3, and so on. The values in the list are ordered and have a definitive count, and the indexing is done according to this order. This means that the list has a starting index, which is 0, and an ending index, which is the number of objects in the list minus 1. Since the list starts on 0 and not 1, the last index will be the number of objects minus 1. Since the list is ordered, it means that, for example, index 3 cannot come before index 2, 1, or 0 in the list, and so on. A list is mutable, which means that the content in the list can be altered after it has been created, as in this example, where the value on index 0 has been changed to a variable instead. Here is another example of using a list. Now try to implement this program and run it. Can you find out what data type is printed out? We can access each individual object in the list. For this, we add to the name of the list 2 square brackets and an index value written in between the square brackets. The example on this slide shows how to, for example, print out the object on index 2. Hence, to access one object in the list, use square brackets notation and then an index value. We can access a slice of the list, that is, several values at the same time from the list, by using 2 index values and a colon in between. A slice for a list in Python has the same syntax as for accessing one object, that is 2 square brackets. But it also needs to include a start index, a colon, and a stop index. Here, 2 examples are given. The first one retrieves the slice from index 2 to 3, and in the second example from index 2 to 5. However, the first example will only print out the value on index 2. This is because for a slice, the object given by the stop index is not included in the slice. This means that the slice between index 2 and 3 is the same as the value given on only index 2, since the object for the stop index is not included. It is possible to update one or more values in the list by using an index value and the assignment operator, like in the example on this slide. Here, the value on index 3 in the list is assigned a new value. That is, it was changed from the string aging to the string cancer. Python provides a number of built-in functions and methods that can be used on lists. We will take a look at some of them here. However, we will only cover one built-in function that can be used on a list, and that is the length function. This function has the following syntax given at the bottom on this slide. The name of the function is len_s, an input argument to the function. Thereafter, len is called upon with the argument s, which will return the number of objects in S. Hence, the function returns the number of objects in an object, that is, the number of values assigned to a list. In the example, the variable list_values has been assigned a list with 4 objects, and the len function will therefore return the integer 4. One can also assign the return value from the function to a new variable and then operate on this variable instead. Like in this example, where the variable list_length is assigned the function call to len. The len function will return the number of objects in the variable list_values, and this number will be assigned to the variable list_length. We will now introduce the built-in method append that can be used on a list. This method adds an object to the end of a list. The method does not return any value. In this example, the word cancer has been added to the list variable called list_values, and the now list holds 5 objects instead of 4. The list method insert works by inserting an object to the list at a given index. You need to provide the function with an integer that states on which index in the list the object should be inserted. This method does not return any value. Study the example on this slide, where the word cancer has been added to the list variable at index 2. Next method is pop that can be used on a list. This method either removes and returns the last object from the list, or removes and returns the object at a specified index. The index is an optional parameter, and without it, the last object in the list is removed instead. In the first example, the object on index 2 in the list will be removed, whereas in the second example, where no index has been specified, the last object in the list will be removed. The built-in method sort can be used on a list. This method sorts the objects in the list in either ascending or descending order. Using sort, as in this example, without giving any arguments to the function, will sort the list in ascending order. The method does not return any value, since it only sorts the contents of the given list. The parameter reverse determines that the list should be sorted descending if set to true. It is by default set to false. When descending order is wanted, add reverse equal true as an argument when calling upon the method. This method reverses the objects in a list. The method does not have any parameters and does not return any values. The method simply just reverses the list. To note, it does not sort the list in any way and should not be mixed up with the sort method shown in previous slide. The last method is clear. This method removes all objects from the list. It does not have any parameters and does not return any values. The method can be useful when one wants to store new objects in a list and make sure that no old objects are still present in the list.